So, there's this fantasy that I think basically anyone who's ever worked with data has had. It's that scene from Star Trek. You know the one I'm talking about.
I'm guessing you mean Captain Picard on the bridge.
Exactly that one. Picard, he just looks at the main screen and says, computer, locate the anomaly, or uh, show me efficiency ratings for the warp core.
And the computer just gets it.
It just does it
Yeah.
instantly. It understands the context. It understands the data.
And the important part is that Picard never has to stop and say, computer, select star, comma, date from table.
Right. If he did that, the Romulans would have blown them up before he finished the query.
Uh-huh.
But then you kind of snap back to reality in a normal office. And if you want that same chart today, you're not a starship captain. You're, emailing a data analyst and waiting 3 days.
Or you're trying to write the SQL yourself and just fighting with it.
Praying you didn't miss a semicolon somewhere. It's this huge bottleneck, isn't it? We got all this data, petabytes of it.
But the way we get answers out of it is like stuck in the 1970s. That gap between talking to the computer and getting an answer is just filled with a lot of frustration.
Well, today we are unpacking something that claims to be the universal translator for that exact problem.
Okay.
We're doing a deep dive into a really fast-growing open source project on GitHub. It's called WrenAI.
And it's been making some serious waves.
It really has. I was looking at the repo before we started recording. It's got over 14,000 stars on GitHub.
Wow.
That's not some little hobby project. That's serious traction for a data tool.
It really suggests they're hitting on a real pain point for people. And what we're looking at here, it's not just another chatbot. This is part of a new category of tech called GenBI.
GenBI. Okay, let's break that down right away. We've had BI, business intelligence forever. Dashboards, reports.
The pie charts.
All the pie charts.
Yeah.
So what does adding the gen part, the generative, what does that actually do? What's the mission here?
The mission, at least according to their docs, is to basically slash the SQL learning curve down to zero.
Zero.
Yeah. The core promise of GenBI and WrenAI is that you should be able to query any database just using natural language. You type a question in English.
So talking to your data. Literally.
Literally. And it's not just getting a wall of text back. One thing that really stood out in their project description is the kind of outputs you get.
Oh, okay.
It does text-to-SQL, so it writes the code for you. It does text-to-chart, so it visualizes the answer. And it provides BI insights, which are these AI-powered summaries of what you're seeing.
Okay, that text-to-chart part is huge for me.
Right.
Because usually, even if I get the code right, I still have to export it to a CSV, open Excel, fight with a pivot table.
Or throw it into Tableau or something.
Exactly. WrenAI is basically saying, no, we'll do that part for you.
It's all about shrinking the time it takes to get an insight. They say you can get decision-ready context in seconds.
And they also have this really bold claim right at the top of their page. Set up in 3 minutes.
Which kind of sets the tone, doesn't it? It's saying this isn't some giant enterprise thing that takes 6 months and a team of consultants to get running.
Right. It's accessible, download and go.
Exactly.
Okay, so this all sounds incredible on the surface. I ask, how many shoes did we sell in Tokyo last November? And boom, a bar chart appears.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be the devil's advocate for a second. I can already paste a spreadsheet into ChatGPT and ask questions. How is this different from just asking a regular LLM to write some code?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer is really the difference between a cool demo and something you can actually use in production.
Okay.
If you give ChatGPT a nice, clean little CSV file, it works great. But if you point an LLM at a real enterprise database, one with 200 tables, crazy column names like Colix 99, it just falls apart. It completely falls apart. It starts hallucinating. It guesses that your revenue is in one column when it's really in another. It might try to join two tables that have no business being joined. And when an AI guesses in a business context,
You get fired.
you get fired, yeah. The AI told me we made $1 million is not a great defense in a board meeting.
Right.
And so WrenAI solves this with what they call their secret sauce.
I do love a good secret sauce.
In this case, it's something called the semantic layer.
Okay, the semantic layer. Let's get a bit technical. That's a term you hear a lot in data circles. For someone who isn't a data engineer, what is it actually doing here?
So think of it like a translator's dictionary and a rule book all in one. Without it, the AI is just looking at your database blind.
Okay.
It sees a column named total empty, and it has to guess what that means. The semantic layer is where a human, you, goes in and explicitly defines it. You say, this column is the total transaction amount, including tax. It connects to the customer table using this ID, and you never, ever sum it if the status is refunded.
Ah, so you're teaching the AI the business logic before it tries to write a single line of code.
Precisely. In WrenAI, they do this with something called MDL models.
MDL model.
It stands for Modeling Definition Language. And these models, they encode the whole schema, all the metrics, the relationships, the joins between tables. It's like giving the AI a really detailed map and a compass before you send it into a huge forest.
I like that. So instead of just letting the AI wander around the forest of your data, hoping it finds the answer,
Right.
the semantic layer says, revenue is on this path, don't go that way, and definitely don't eat those berries.
That's a perfect analogy, and their documentation really emphasizes that this layer keeps the LLM's output accurate and governed. It bridges that gap between the messy reality of a database and the creative, sometimes chaotic nature of an LLM.
That word governed feels really important there.
It's everything. In business, accuracy is non-negotiable. By putting the logic in the MDL, WrenAI makes sure that when you ask for sales, the AI uses the official company definition of sales, not just some column that looks about right.
It's the difference between asking a random person on the street for directions and asking a city planner who has the actual blueprints.
That's it exactly. And this whole MDL approach is what lets them connect to pretty much any database accurately.
Okay, speaking of databases, let's talk about what this can actually plug into, because a tool is useless if it doesn't talk to my data.
The list it's really impressive. It covers the whole spectrum. So you've got your classics like PostgreSQL and MySQL.
Some of our courses.
Yep, they're everywhere. But then you have the big data heavy hitters, BigQuery, Snowflake, Redshift.
So it works if I'm a tiny startup on Postgres or a huge corporation on Snowflake.
And they also list Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle, which shows they're thinking about those legacy enterprise systems, and then some of the newer, trendier ones like DuckDB and ClickHouse.
I always smile when I hear DuckDB. It's a great name, but it's having a huge moment for local analytics.
It is. And adding support for things like Trino and Athena, it shows they really get the modern data stack. It basically means, look, no matter where your data is, WrenAI can be the front door.
So you have the data on one side, the semantic layer in the middle, making sure it's all correct. What about the brain? The AI itself. Is WrenAI its own model?
No, and this is a really important distinction. WrenAI is the engine, it's the interface, but it connects to external LLMs to do the actual thinking. It's modular.
So you bring your own brain.
You bring your own brain, exactly.
Yeah.
The docs list integrations with OpenAI, so all your GPT models, but also Azure, OpenAI, Google Gemini.
Through Vertex AI or AI Studio, right?
Right. And Anthropic for the Claude fans.
Oh, good. I know a lot of devs who swear by Claude for coding tasks.
Me too. They also list Bedrock, Mistral, Grok, and this is a big one for people who care about privacy local options like Llama.
Whoa. Okay, let's pause on Llama. That lets you run large language models on your own machine locally.
Correct. So
I could have my database on a secure server, run WrenAI on that same server, and then run the LLM locally through Llama. And no data ever leaves my infrastructure. No API calls to OpenAI. Nothing goes to the cloud.
That's the theory, yes. And that is the holy grail for anyone in finance or healthcare or any field with really strict compliance rules.
But I feel a but coming.
There is a but, and it's a very specific caution note in their source material.
Uh-oh.
It says, and I'm quoting, the performance of WrenAI depends significantly on the capability of the LLM used.
Ah, garbage in, garbage out.
Pretty much. They strongly recommend using the most powerful model available. Writing complex SQL is hard, even for people. It takes a lot of logic. So if you try to run this on some tiny local model that fits on a laptop,
You're going to have a bad time.
you might get really slow responses, or worse, just plain wrong SQL.
That makes sense. The semantic layer can give the AI the map, but the AI still has to be smart enough to actually read the map.
Exactly. So while local is a great option to have for really reliable results, you're probably looking at something in the GPT-4 or Claude 3.5 Sonnet class.
Okay, so you have your data. You've picked your high-powered AI brain. Is this just a dashboard I log into, or can I do more with it? I saw a note about embed via API.
And this is where it gets really interesting for all the developers listening. WrenAI isn't just a destination, it's a building block.
Okay.
The source says developers can generate these queries and charts right inside their own applications.
So like headless BI.
That's exactly the term for it. Imagine you're building a SaaS product, maybe a project management tool, and you want your users to be able to just ask, hey, how many tasks did I finish last week?
Right, building that kind of a natural language feature yourself would be a nightmare.
A total nightmare. All the parsing, the query generation.
Right.
WrenAI says, don't. Don't build it. Just call our API. Your app sends the question, WrenAI does the hard work, and sends back the answer and the chart for you to display.
That is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It lets any developer add an Ask Your Data feature to their product.
And for the tech folks listening, it's built on a pretty standard modern stack. The repo is mostly TypeScript, about 64%, and Python, which is around 28%.
The classic combo. TypeScript for the front end and API, Python for the data science heavy lifting.
It's the modern data app uniform. And this is crucial, it's all licensed under AGPL 3.0.
So truly open source.
Open source with teeth. That's a strong copyleft license.
Yeah.
It basically means if you modify the code and offer it as a service, you have to share your changes back with the community.
So a big tech company can't just take it, wrap it up, close the source, and sell it as their own thing.
It keeps the project honest and makes sure it stays open for everybody.
So let's talk about that community. An open source project is only as strong as the people behind it. Is this a ghost town or is there a party happening?
It definitely looks like a party. We mentioned the 14,000 stars, but the activity is high. The source mentions at release version 0.29.1 that came out as recently as November 28th, 2025.
Okay, so this is being actively worked on as we're recording this.
Very much so. And they have over 1,300 developers in their Discord server.
That's a really solid community for a specialized tool like this.
It is, and they really encourage people to contribute. They have this neat system where you can vote for new data sources on GitHub, so if your favorite database isn't supported, you can lobby for it.
That's pretty cool. You don't have to wait for some product manager at a huge company to decide your database matters.
Right. And to lower the barrier to entry, they have a couple of options. There's that 3-minute local setup we talked about, but they also have a WrenAI cloud for people who don't want to touch the command line.
You can choose. Let me get my hands dirty with the engine, or just drive me to the destination. So let's zoom out. We've gone through the tech, the connections, the secret sauce. But what about the human element? For, say, a business analyst, what does their day look like with this versus without it?
Without it, their day is just friction. A marketing manager pings them. How'd the email campaign do in Europe? The analyst has to stop what they're doing, write a query, export it, make a chart, send it back. It's totally reactive.
They're a data fetcher. It's high-skilled grunt work, but it's still grunt work.
Right. With a tool like WrenAI, that marketing manager just types the question themselves.
Yeah.
The analyst isn't even in the loop for that one simple question.
So is the analyst out of a job? I feel like we have to ask.
No, I don't think so at all. I think their job gets promoted.
Promoted.
Yeah. They stop fetching the data and they start governing it. Their job becomes building and maintaining that semantic layer. They become the person who defines what revenue means in the MDL model so that when the CEO asks the AI for it, the AI gets it right every single time.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. It moves the human up the value chain. You're not writing the boring code anymore. You're architecting the logic that lets the code be written automatically.
It's the same shift we've seen over and over. From assembly to C++A, from C++ to Python, we just keep abstracting the complexity away. This is just the next layer. English is becoming the programming language.
That brings up a really interesting thought. If English becomes the query language and these semantic layers get really, really good, does SQL eventually just become a hidden language, like machine code is today?
I think that's exactly the trajectory we're on. Think about it. Do you have any idea how your web browser is actually rendering this page right now, the specific commands?
No idea. And I really don't want to know.
Exactly. In 10 years, we might look back on writing SQL by hand the same way we look at using punch cards. It could become this, lost art for deep systems engineers.
That is both incredibly exciting and a little bit terrifying for those of us who spent years learning the difference between an inner join and an outer join.
You might have to update your LinkedIn skills. But the trade-off is massive. If 100% of your company can ask questions of the data, instead of just the 5% who know SQL, the whole business just gets faster.
That's the big takeaway right there. This isn't just about a cool piece of tech. It's about democratization of data.
Absolutely.
So if you're drowning in data requests or you're a developer looking to add some AI magic to your application, WrenAI definitely seems like a project worth checking out. Just maybe set aside a little more than 3 minutes to really build out that semantic layer?
For sure. Think of the semantic layer as a garden. You have to plant it and tend to it carefully, but if you do, it'll feed you answers forever.
I love that. Tend to your semantic garden. Well, that's our deep dive into the world of GenBI and WrenAI. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Stay curious.